Hiya, and welcome to the James Oliver Guitar Channel, and this is part 20 of vinyl albums that inspire me / bands and artists I like, or love, or whatever. So this is the 20th part. I've now shown 200 albums so far. There's a lot more to go. I seem to be doing it every Wednesday, so here we are this Wednesday again, and let's crack on. The first album up, Luaris. This is the Luxury Liner album with a hot band, of course. Of course, you've got the Grand Parcel song, Luxury Liner. You've got Townes Van Zant's Pancho and Lefty. She does a great version of C'est La Vie, the Chuck Berry tune. Making Believe is on this. And of course, you've got the hot band. Albert Lee is on this. Rodney Crowell, Hank DeVito on steel guitar. Ricky Skaggs on harmony vocals and fiddle. Emery Gordy on bass. Just absolutely wonderful. I mean, country music, great to dance to. Emmy Lou is a fabulous singer. The hot band, a hot band. And this is a Luxury Liner album. Definitely worth checking out. And it might even get you into country music. You never know. So there you are. The Luxury Liner album by Emmy Lou. Up next, Huey Piano Smith. New Orleans piano. This is the Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. Huey Piano Smith, of course, is a New Orleans piano player. And I love Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. He does Little Liza Jane on this. Little Chicken Wah Wah, High Blood Pressure, Dearest Darling. Great tune, the Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. I know that, I think Jelly Bread, I believe, recorded it for the Blue Horizon label. And that's when I first heard it. Then I went back, of course, and I wanted to show a bit of Huey Piano Smith. This is on the Chiswick label. This was sort of a reissue. He was around in the 50s and 60s, etc. And yeah, absolutely superb boogie woogie New Orleans feel piano. If that's your thing, you love Huey Piano Smith. A bit more country. This is Buck Owens. This is the best of Buck Owens, Volume 2, of course, with the Buckaroos. Don Rich on guitar, stuff on this like Tiger by the Tail, Together Again, Act Naturally. One of my favourite ever instrumental tunes, Buckaroo. And this is, of course, on the Capitol label. Buck Owens always recorded on the Capitol label. And wonderful Bakersfield style country. So there you are, that's Buck Owens. And up next, something completely different. This is the first album by the Edgar Broughton Band. Of course, Edgar Broughton is a British psychedelic guitar player, singer, and this is his band, the Edgar Broughton Band. And of course, it's on the Harvest label. And one of my favourite Edgar Broughton songs, I've got on a 45, is Apache Dropout. And he mixes Apache by the Shadows with Captain Beefheart's Dropout Boogie. So if you haven't heard that, that's definitely worth checking out, because Edgar Broughton sort of does sing like Captain Beefheart on these albums. Interesting stuff. He went on to be a K worker, I believe, and he used to take his nan on gigs. So there you are, Edgar Broughton. Strange cover too. Lumps of Meat. Maybe it's a Zappa reference, I don't know. Link Wray and the Raymen. This is a reissue of the classic Link Wray and the Raymen album. Of course, this has got Rumble on it, and Rawhide, and Comanche. Absolutely love Link Wray. The godfather of the power chord and the great guitar instrumentals that he wrote. Run Chicken Run is a favourite of mine, and there's a nice stateside EP with Run Chicken Run on, and a track called Dinosaur, which is really cool. And this is a reissue of the one of the first albums he made, and here he is with his Dan electrical guitar on the front there, which Deke Dickerson now owns. If you're into all this rockabilly and instrumental stuff and rock and roll, etc., check out Deke Dickerson. Not only a great guitar player and singer, in his own right. But he's a real music historian, and he owns a lot of famous people's guitars. He loves Moss rights, etc. So yeah, that's the first Link Wray album. Link Wray and the Raymen. And of course Rumblesea was banned off the radio, wasn't it? Because it was too wild. I think there's a lot of music should be banned off the radio now, but that's another story. This is the John Hammond album, Big City Blues. Of course, John Hammond, blues guitar player. He now goes out on his own, you know, with a National Resonator. And this is one of his early albums, and there's a full band on this. And he does stuff like Muddy Waters, I'm Ready, does Backdoor Man, Little Walters, My Babe, Robert Johnson's When You Got a Good Friend. And he's on the front there on a Honda motorbike. And not my favourite, but another favourite John Hammond album is him doing all the Tom Waits tracks. That's a really cool album. I haven't got that on vinyl, so I thought I'd show the Big City Blues album. But definitely check out John Hammond. There's quite a few country ones today, and bluegrass. This is The Outlaws. Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. Jesse Coulter and Tampa, and there's lots of stuff on here. Honky Tonk Heroes, of course. Classic Waylon. T for Texas is on here. Put Another Log on the Fire, Good-Hearted Woman. Classic country, I love Waylon's phasered Telecaster sound. And of course Willie Nelson's playing Trigger, which is like the greatest looking acoustic classical nylon string Martin you'll ever see. And they were really outlaws, and great country music. There's nothing else to say other than that. This is quite an interesting bluegrass album on the Warner Brothers label. This is High Country. You know, they're a bluegrass band. They do Big River on this. They do Sugar Coated Love. John Hardy, of course. John Hardy's a classic bluegrass instrumental. Pow Wow, Hello City Limits. And yeah, you know, real good bluegrass, old-timey mandolin, fiddle, banjo, acoustic guitar and double bass. No drummer. Sort of 70s bluegrass. I should imagine they were inspired by the Grateful Dead a little bit. Because of course Jerry Garcia was a banjo player, as well as a psychedelic rock guitar player. So that's High Country there. Up next, I haven't shown anything by these yet. The Rolling Stones. This is the Stones' first album. Self-titled on the Decca label. They do Route 66 and Willie Dixon, I Just Want to Make Love to You on this. I'm a King Bee, the Slim Harpo track. Chuck Berry's Carol. Walking the Dog, Rufus Thomas. Early Stones with Brian Jones. Proper rock and roll. You know, I mean, what can you say about it other than they're classic? It's a classic album. They're playing classic songs, and it's in a classic way. So that's the Stones' first album. Cool cover as well. And this is not the 1A Matrix number one. It is unboxed Decca. Obviously, I've got to get a bit of the record collector info in for the record collectors who watch the episodes. Neil Young and Crazy Horse. This is Zuma. Don't Cry No Tears, Danger Bird, Barstool Blues, Stupid Girl, Cortez the Killer. Absolutely love this album. You know, this is classic Neil Young at his best, at his peak, really. I mean, he still does Cortez the Killer to this day, and I've seen him do Don't Cry No Tears, I've seen him do Danger Bird. He does Danger Bird and Barstool Blues on Year of the Horse in 96 as well. Ralph Molina, Frank Stampedro and Billy Talbot. You know, Frank, of course, replaced Danny Whitten in Crazy Horse. And I think Frank has retired now. And Nils Lofgren is back in the fold and he's playing guitar in Crazy Horse. He was, of course, on the Tonight Tonight album and After the Gold Rush, etc. So there you are, there's Neil Young, Zuma. Great record. I thought I'd pick some more Zappa up next. This is the Apostrophe album. Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, Where They Stole the Margarine, Cosmic Debris, Apostrophe, Stinkfoot, Uncle Remus. I mean, Jack Bruce is on this, Tom Fowler, George Duke, Ian Underwood is on this. So obviously Zappa's on guitar. Amazing. Musical genius. I think if you want to, delve into your Zappa stuff, Apostrophe is the first one you want to go to. I reckon. Here's Nick Lowe and his cowboy outfit. Half the Boy and Half the Man is on this. Love Like a Glove. Half the Boy and Half the Man is great. It got sort of like a reggae sort of feel to it, really. Obviously fast reggae, but Nick is he's one of the best British songwriters ever. Love his work with Rockpile and The Impossible Birds, etc. So I thought I'd show this Cowboy Operators album. Cowboy outfit, sorry. This is Nick Lowe's cowboy outfit. All new material. I always like that Nick Lowe and his, John Lee Hooker and his band. I always thought that was quite cool. This is Richard Thompson's first solo album after he left Fairport. And this is Henry the Human Fly. I think it was a bit of a flop at the time, but there's one song on here which I think is a real underrated song and I love, and that's The Angels Took My Racehorse Away. And I mean, he still does roll over Vaughan Williams from time to time. But The Angels Took My Racehorse Away, I think, is one of the forgotten Richard Thompson gems, really. Definitely worth a look if you haven't heard that. It's quite a weird cover with his fly mask on and playing his Martin guitar. What a writer, I think he's one of the most unique guitar players in British history. Acoustic and electric. Big Richard Thompson fan, as you all know. Something that's completely different. This is Rage Against the Machine. And the reason I like this is for the the reason is the song "Killing in the Name." Absolutely love that song. I think that Tom Morello is a interesting guitar player. Using his Digitech whammy, etc. Completely different at the time, and I like the way he plays, and I like the sounds he gets. So I'm not really massively familiar with a lot of the stuff on this. Obviously, I've only really heard the first side, and I mean I've heard Bullet in the Head, which is a good one as well. But for me, Killing in the Name. There was a couple of good local bands used to do that, and I thought, well, that's a cool song, and that's why I checked out Rage Against the Machine. And now from Rage Against the Machine to probably the greatest dobro player alive, Jerry Douglas. This is the Changing Channels album. It's an instrumental album by the great Jerry Douglas. If you've never heard Jerry Douglas, you'll probably heard him without even knowing it. Bella Flex on banjo on this. So there's absolutely world-class banjo playing on it. And actually, Bella Flex even plays guitar on this, which is quite interesting, really. So yeah, this is an all-instrumental album, and it's on MCA, it is. And Albert Lee made one with a similar cover, doing all instrumentals on the same label. It's from the 80s, it is, 1987. So there you are, check out this Jerry Douglas album, Changing Channels. The whole thing is on YouTube. I thought we'd go for a bit of rockabilly, because why not? This is the Crazy Cavern album. It's wild, it's weird, and it's crazy. This is from the 90s. This is the 90s era. Teenage Shaker, Blue Days, Railroad Station, Evil Art. Absolutely love this album. And they're just a great rock and roll, great rockabilly Teddy Boy band. And I think that Lyndon does get a bit of a bad rap sometimes for his guitar playing, but some of his solos, I think, are really cool. And I like the way he plays. I think Cavern's a great songwriter. Vance Vincent on this on bass. Solid as a rock. And it says on the front, probably the most dangerous band in the land. So there you are. Crazy Cavern, wild, weird and crazy. This is a really good one. Commander Cody and the Lost Planet, Amen. live from deep in the heart of Texas. Of course, Bill Kirchin, one of my all-time favourites. The Commander's great. Good Rockin' Tonight. Johnny Orton's I'm Coming Home. Down to Season Stems. Ride and Cellbook number 9. Too Much Fun. Recorded in 1973 at the Armadillo World Headquarters in Austin, Texas. Commander Cody and his Lost Palette Amen. One of the all-time great bands, I reckon. Definitely worth checking out this album. And we've gone from dobro playing to rockabilly to Americana to this. Henry Kaiser. Hope you like our new direction. Henry Kaiser's a bit of an avant-garde sort of guitar player. He's made records with Richard Thompson and John French, and he's an interesting guitar player, quite off the wall, as I say, avant-garde. He actually plays dumble amps as well for any of you guitar players. But if you think you're avant-garde, weird, beef art, Zappa, definitely worth checking out Henry Kaiser. And there's some good rig rundown videos as well on his YouTube channel, and he's very much influenced by Mississippi Fred McDowell, who we've shown on this series before. So there you go, this Henry Kaiser. Hope you like my new direction, and he definitely goes in a few different directions. We seem to have a bit of a live album theme today. This is Tom Waits' Big Time. Live, of course. Cold, Cold Ground. Way Down in the Hole. Big Black Mariah. Rain Dogs. Telephone Call from Istanbul. One of my favourite guitar players. I said that about everybody, but Mark Rebo is on this. Love Tom's voice. Love his songwriting. Love Mark Rebo. Cold, Cold Ground is my favourite song on the record, I think. And in saying that, with the Stones and their first album being mainly covers, the Stones also covered Way Down in the Hole. And I don't plan any of this, but it just seems to all sometimes add up, when I'm talking about it. And the last but not least, this is Dave Edmonds with DE7. I picked this one because obviously I'm a massive Edmonds fan, but there's two cracking covers on this. He does NRBQ's Me and the Boys, and he does Garrett Watkins' Deep in the Heart of Texas, and also a storming version of Chuck Berry's Dear Dad, which is a lesser known classic Chuck Berry tune. And of course there's the hit on ya from Small Things, Big Things Come. So there we are, there's my 20 albums that inspire me, / artists I like and love. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all again next week for another vinyl album video. Cheers!